In this video I will be showing you another DIY skateboard deck build. As you can see here, I'm fine tuning the mold I already had because I wanted it to have a bit more concave for my board. I put some plastic over the tables in my kitchen because I don't want it to get messy, but I did want to glue up the boards inside because it's just a bit better for the glue to set. I glued up the veneers, not too thin, not too thick, and then I stacked them up. Place the stacked veneers onto the mold and I will put it into the vacuum bag. So if you're looking for a vacuum bag like this, I'm using the Roarockit bags, which is actually a very good way to do a DIY at home without needing too much crazy expensive stuff to make a skateboard deck. Once the bag is sealed, I'll just make sure all the air goes out and it's actually gonna get vacuum pressed. So I use a vacuum cleaner for that. I put it on the tip and it just goes a bit faster. Left the board in the press overnight and then it was ready to take it out. I also copied the middle from the mold onto the blank skateboard so I can get a center line and make sure my board will end up being straight. The blank came out looking super good, so I gave it some color with some varnish. Then it was time to drill the holes for the trucks. I always use a cutout from a skateboard with my preferred wheelbase size, so I make sure it's always straight and always the wheelbase I prefer. Then for this one I took a deck with again the same wheelbase, put on some bolts to bolt it to the blank, and then I could copy the shape because I liked the shape and I wanted to copy it. Then of course jigsaw and saw it out. Be very patient, do it slowly, make sure it's good. Then a very satisfying part is when you sawed it out, you can actually see your board come to life. And next step is going to be a lot of sanding. So first I sand out the edges to make it nice and round and smooth. Then with a more fine grit sandpaper I also sand the board just to make it more smooth so it will eventually be more slick. Again, checking the board, seeing if it looks good, so it's basically almost ready. I also made a super basic screen printing setup with most of the stuff coming from the trash, but it actually works pretty well. I don't do any big graphics because I'm also not that good at screen printing, so I can just do a little logo I made and I just keep the colors of the wood because that's the main look I want on my boards because I just like that. Then it was time for some clear coat, a lot of sanding, more clear coat just to make the board shine. Then eventually with a lot of waiting and letting it dry, it's finished. And then after a long build and waiting, it's finally time to set it up to eventually skate it, of course. Putting on some Jessup grip tape because I always ride Jessup grip tape, and these days I actually have a full roll of it, so it's super satisfying. Throw on some trucks and wheels. And of course my board always needs some rails. These are from Fast Lads, which I got on Bali in Indonesia, and they are made from recycled plastic from Bali, which is super cool. This is the full setup, it looks super nice, I can't wait to actually skate it. Skating the board, now it was in the indoor park, it was actually closed and the lights were off. I was just waiting for my friend to get to work. And I just filmed some super random things because he was late and I could just skate and do a couple things. So here's that. This first session was pretty short, but I already noticed that I really liked the board. Then after work I actually got to skate my local for a bit, which was also super nice, and again did some super random tricks I just felt like doing that day. Always if I made a board and I'm super hyped on it or I know things I want to improve, I already get super excited to make a next one. For me it's just super fun to create my own boards instead of just picking some random board from a store. I would definitely recommend trying it out yourself as well, because the boards just have soul. Like even though it's not perfect, I'm just always super hyped on it and it's just super fun to skate and motivates me to skate even harder. That was it for this project, and see you guys in the next video.